my name's Josh. My dad is Will Bowe. He was in Vietnam 50 some years ago, and we actually wrote a book about it called The Ground You Stand Upon. But today we were just gonna kind of talk about Dad's memories the way he remembers it. And a lot of this stuff was in the book, and some of it might not be. But so it's 1965, and Will Bowe is 20 years old. What was going on in your life then when you got drafted?
Well, before I was drafted, I was living with my parents and younger brother. I was helping with the farm chores, feeding and milking the cows. I did attend a machinist school for a short time and then worked in a factory in Chippewa Falls. I did play high school football, and I was a running back and a kick returner. One time I did get into trouble. My dad and my older brother belonged to the National Farmers Organization. One day the NFO held a cattle truck blockage at a meat packing plant in Chippewa. The police warned us to disperse or be arrested. We didn't disperse, and 11 of us got arrested and thrown into jail. But within a few hours, a lawyer representing all of us got us out of jail. And shortly after that, I got a draft notice in the mail. They then dropped the charges against me. It was a surprise to me that we were going to war in Vietnam.
Yeah, so I was wondering, was Vietnam in the news?
It probably was. I didn't pay much attention to news back then. But yeah, I can't remember for sure.
So there was a handful of other guys that you knew that either got drafted or joined the Army or the Marines.
Yeah.
Do you remember, were they most of them drafted before you were? Or was it like right around the same time?
Yeah, it was around the same time that I knew of a few people, relatives that got drafted, yeah.
Let's see, there was Don McKilcomb.
McElwam.
Mm-hmm. He joined the Army. I don't know if he was drafted.
He was drafted.
He was. And then your next door neighbor, Simon?
Alan Simon.
He was drafted.
Yep.
Let's see. Charlie Rubenzer.
And Bernie Minen got drafted and was killed.
Yeah. And then your co-worker at Johnson Manufacturing, Bill Lytle.
Yes.
And Ricky Mitchell. That was
yeah.
That was your friend from when you were kids, right?
School, yeah.
So it shouldn't have been too big of a surprise, but
yeah, I guess it was a surprise anyway.
Yeah. So we were talking about the NFO in the protest. That was over meat prices. There was some other protests over milk prices later on.
Yes.
Right, where they were dumping milk.
Yep.
So the thing where you guys got arrested, it was 11 of you, and it was all over the news. There's a lot of old newspaper articles. But the governor was quoted in the newspaper saying that this has to stop, and they made it sound like it was a violent protest, but I think it was peaceful, and
We just stood in their way.
They just, yeah.
And so we didn't do any damage or hurt anybody.
No. Well, it was social justice, for farmers anyway.
Yes, we were trying to get a contract with the manufacturers and
The meat packers.
and the meat packers and the creameries, but we failed.
So I mean, that's what was going on in Tilden. Tilden's a town where Dad grew up. That's a small farm town in Wisconsin. So it's by Chippewa Falls, which is a little bigger town, but it's definitely farm country. And most of these other guys that got drafted, they were from farms as well. So was there any other trouble you got into besides a protest?
Well, I got caught fishing without a license, and that was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And everybody found out about it. And I got arrested for driving on the wrong side of the street in Bloomer.
Yeah.
But other than that,
And that was some girls drove by and you and your friend were
yeah,
trying to catch up to them, or?
yes, something like that.
So yeah, in small towns, everything is all the tickets, no matter how small, they're in the newspaper, so everybody knows about them. And you can still look them up now that we have the internet. You can find all the old newspapers. But and then there was football. That was in high school. But we didn't really talk about it yet too much, but right after high school you went to a machinist school in Chicago.
Yes, that was for about 3 months, and that was enough for me, so I quit and came back home and got a machinist job in Chippewa, and that went on for a short time, and then I got drafted after that.
Do you think you would have kept doing machinist work, or what do you think you would have done?
Yeah, I have no idea.
What did your dad think about wanting to do that and not farming? Did he ever want you to be a farmer too, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to be one too, but I wanted to be one with having a contract with the manufacturers.
Farmer that made more money.
And you make more money, and you're able to depend on what you're selling. So.
Yeah. And farming's a lot of work.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
Yeah, they don't get their weekends off or anything, so there's a lot of drawbacks. And then, so when you went to machinist school, do you remember how your dad sent you off?
Yeah, he sent me off and gave me $20
and a bus ticket.
And a bus ticket. Yeah. And when I got to the hotel where I was staying at, I told the people that I didn't have enough money for rent, and she says, "Okay, we'll wait until you get a paycheck, and then you can pay us." So, yeah, I was on my last dollar just to get some food.
What did you think of Chicago? Because had you ever been to a big city before, or?
No, I didn't know how to get on a bus. And when first day that I went on a bus, bus driver took off right away, and I thought, well, you don't have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down, and the bus driver went about a block, and he says, "You guy, get off the bus." I said, well, how much do I owe? And, you know, I think it was a quarter. And so I
Sure.
dug up a quarter and went from there. And then after that, I got to the factory, and chocolate factory, Blommer's.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's still going today. So they made lots of chocolate.
Yeah. And then didn't your brother and your buddy Larry come down and visit once?
Yeah, they came down, and they had brought with them their lunch bag. And I took them to the chocolate factory and showed them what we did there. And they dumped out all their food, and they filled the brown paper bags with candy, chocolate candy.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of free chocolate working there?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I had a couple bars every day. So.
Was it cold? Because it was over the winter, right? When you were there?
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember it being cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your letters, it sounded like it was cold.
Oh.
You were talking about how cold it was in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe not the whole time. Well, that's about, so before you're drafted, those are all the things that kind of happened, but we didn't really talk about your family. It was, you had 3 brothers and a sister, right?
Yes.
And your 2 older brothers, Mel and Daryl,
Mm-hmm.
they were off on their own. Daryl had his own farm, or not Daryl, but Mel had his own farm, but Mike, your younger brother Mike, was how old?
About 14.
Yeah. And Diane was a little bit older than you, and they were still living on the farm.
Yes.
So that was your family when you left. Do you remember, what did your mom tell you? Anything?
When I left,
Yeah, when you left for the Army.
no, she didn't give me any advice. My dad didn't know what advice to give either. But my older brother, Daryl, he was in the Army, so it went well for him. So I'm assuming, or they were assuming, that it would go well for me too.
Yeah. And that was in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So he was quite a bit older. And he was an airborne instructor for a while even.
Yes, he's a parachutist. So,
Okay, well, now we're gonna talk about Fort Carson, where you did your basic training and air mobile training. What do you remember about basic training in Fort Carson?
Basic training was pretty basic. Just a lot of exercising, walking many miles to a rifle range, and camping out in the country. But advanced training was getting used to riding in helicopters and learning to shoot a motor gun and rappelling off of a tower. Okay.
So when they started your advanced training, after the basic training was a few months, or maybe only 2 months, but that advanced training, that would have been because you were, you didn't get to pick your job in the Army when you were drafted. They picked it for you, and so
Yes.
they told you were going to be an infantryman, but also a mortarman, which shoots operates a mortar system, which is it's like portable artillery, I guess. So that's what the advanced training was on, right?
Primarily, yeah.
And I think this is where your platoon kind of came together.
Yes.
Because you guys would stick together as a platoon after, because that was known as the mortar platoon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the friends you made when you started advanced training?
Yeah, there was a lot of guys from New York City, and they were black or Hispanic, and they liked to sing, and they were pretty good at it, and we had a lot of fun listening to them.
Yeah. And you never really met any guys from the city before, had you, or
No.
pretty new?
Yeah.
They probably never met any farmers.
Right.
Do you remember meeting Martin Quinn?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we were good friends, and we shared the same bunk together, and yeah, he was always amazed by my being so relaxed, and not.
Yeah, not so nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was a nervous wreck in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
He said you were always joking around, but he was a little more serious, maybe.
Yes.
But I don't think he was really interested in winning the war or anything. He just wanted to stay alive. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yes.
He said he wanted to be buddies with you because he figured you knew everything about the outdoors, being from the country.
Oh, yeah, he was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, farming's a lot different than living in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the other guys were mostly so he was from New York City. Bronson and Evans were a couple of black guys. I think they were from the Bronx, maybe.
Yes.
There's some Puerto Ricans. And let's see, Figaro and Reynosa were a couple of the but they were the ones that all liked to sing together.
Oh, yes.
Did they also did they like to drink and party and?
Yeah, they were always going to Colorado Springs, and having a lot of parties down there. So.
Yeah, Quinn mentioned that. So we didn't get to speak with Bronson or Evans or Figaro or Reynosa, but we did talk to Martin Quinn quite a bit. And then, so you had another friend that was kind of from around here, but from near St. Cloud, Marvin Bierschbach. But he was also from a farm. But you remember your first Army buddy before you even got to advanced training. Rodney?
Rodney Henning, yes. He was from Eagle Point, which was close by Chippewa Falls. And he was very good. He made staff sergeant before he got out of the military. So he was very good at.
Sure. He was, I think, maybe a little more enthusiastic.
Yes.
About being in the Army.
Yes.
And didn't he talk you into going airborne? or trying to?
Yes.
Was
Yes.
that his idea, you think?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that figures.
But we didn't have the chance to do it, so
No.
we just had to stay where we were at.
Your letters talked about, if you guys made it to airborne school and graduated from that, you get an extra $50 a month about in airborne pay.
Well, I guess that would have been worth it.
Yeah.
You're only getting $55 a month anyway, so double our pay.
So yeah, do you remember your first Army paycheck? How much it was?
I think it was $55, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. And then you got a little bit more in combat pay once you went to Vietnam.
I think another $10
Yeah.
more.
Worth every penny.
Yes.
That's what Marvin said. So there's a nightlife in Colorado. In your letters, you talked about did they like to shake dice a lot? The guys from New York,
Yeah.
shaking dice and
Yeah.
gambling.
Gambling. Yep.
But what did they think of you guys from the country? Did they have because they'd never been on a farm before, or
Yeah, I always invited them to come after he got out of service, come and visit with me on the farm, but none of them showed up, so
yeah,
probably would have put them to work.
yeah, yeah. Wisconsin's a long way from New York.
And Quinn never has a car. He always uses the bus
Mm-hmm.
to wherever he goes.
Yeah. I guess so. The other thing about when you're at training, and at first you didn't know if you were going to be going to Vietnam or not, right?
Correct.
Everybody was thinking, well, maybe we'll go to Germany, maybe we'll do this, and you didn't plan on all being together wherever you went, because usually those basic training companies get split up and then they send everybody to whatever unit
Right.
they need them. But somewhere around the end of that advanced training, before you started the helicopter, what they call AIRMOBILE training, you were told you're all going to stay together and you're all going to go to Vietnam together too. But when I was reading your letters, it's kind of it seemed like you couldn't decide if you wanted to go to Vietnam or not,
Yeah.
because you'd be
Yeah, I was thinking, well, maybe it'd be better if I, went to Canada, but then I thought, well, if I wanted to live in America, I'm going to have to do my share in the military.
yeah.
So I did.
Well, that was never really a question for you, I don't think.
It was for a
But
couple
but
minutes.
whether or not you're going to Vietnam was kind of up in the air, though, because some people got sent to Germany often in those days, or Korea, even though it wasn't a war anymore. People were still stationed there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those letters where you were like, well, sometimes I wish I were going, but then maybe not, and we might go to Germany, but I hope I go to Vietnam, but then maybe again, maybe not. So you change your mind a few times in the same letter. I know Marvin Bierschbach definitely didn't want to go. He didn't want to be in the Army. He tried to join the Air Force and the Navy, and then they were all filled up.
Yeah.
He still ended up in the Army, and then he was supposed to be in the artillery, but then they switched him and sent him to Fort Carson to be in the infantry. So no matter what he did, you guys were destined to be together.
Yes.
And, so in the unit was they redesignated it the 5th Battalion, 7th Cavalry, and the 7th Cavalry was Custer's old regiment.
Correct.
So what do you remember anything about the helicopter training, or
Well,
right before you were getting ready to go to Vietnam?
well, it wasn't that much training there. When we rode in the helicopters, the doors were always closed, but in Vietnam, all the doors were always open, so
Yeah.
you could have fallen out easily if you weren't careful. So, but yeah, it wasn't anything special. Just had to learn how to get in and out of them, and wasn't anything too much to it.
Yeah.
Just getting used to riding.
And then there was some rappelling from the tower.
Yes. And my sergeant, Burtis, he was kind of a big feller, and he got up on the tower, but he wouldn't go down on that rope. He was just shaking, so that wasn't his cup of tea.
And that was your platoon sergeant.
Yes.
So you were saying you thought the sergeants in your company was Alpha Company,
Mm-hmm.
but when you were training on the mortars, they sent you to Charlie Company with all the other guys that were in your mortar platoon.
Yeah, I don't remember how we got to train, but
I think that's what it was, because the one guy said he remembered you from being in Charlie
Yeah,
Company when you
yeah.
guys were in AIT.
yes.
But it was just temporary, just to learn the mortars.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how that evolved. But that was good training. Learning how to set up the tripod and using that how they call it, stick.
The aiming stake?
Aiming stake.
Oh,
yeah. And we had to do it, as quickly as possible, and that was good training.
And then you were in teams of like 4 or 5 people.
Yes.
Do you remember who was on your team, your mortar team?
In Vietnam, it was Jerry Anderson and Marvin and
Bronson.
Bronson.
Yeah.
I think that was mostly it.
And Fulford, right? You probably mentioned
yeah.
Fulford too.
Fulford.
So yeah, John, that was one of your sergeants who was drafted was John Fulford, and he was from Florida.
Yes.
And he was one that you liked.
Yes.
Gerald Anderson was from Illinois. He must have been the tallest guy in your platoon.
Yes. Yes.
Because I thought Burtis was tall, and he's even a lot taller than him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bronson was the tall black guy.
Yes.
So, and then Marvin Bierspot from Minnesota.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, what else did you do for fun at Fort Carson?
Oh, climbed that mountain, Cheyenne Mountain. We kind of got out of the company, out of the
company area?
Yeah, and then we crawled under into a culvert and got past the guards, and then we climbed the mountain, which it didn't take very long, and me and my friend Mark, and we came just up there for a few minutes and then climbed back down. But this is where NATO was has their
The
NORAD system.
Yeah, the NORAD Center.
So I could have been arrested going up there, I suppose. I don't know.
And then you snuck back in.
And he snuck back in, going through the culvert again.
Huh. I always got the impression between your letters and then reading some of the other letters of some other guys in the company that drinking and getting the chance to to get whenever you can get beer was a pretty big concern. But there was always a lot of fights that broke out whenever the alcohol was available. You remember that?
Yeah, I got kicked out of a bar because I punched a guy, and he must have been friends with the bar owner. So a couple of guys, big guys, just threw me out. So I didn't put up any fights.
Yeah. Yeah, someone else mentioned that there was a picnic with the company and a soccer game, and then there was alcohol involved, and then the big fight started. So it seemed like that was just the thing to do in those days. But well, I think that's about it for that part. Oh, so one other thing from Fort Carson. Do you remember meeting Arnott Graham when you were still at Fort Carson?
No, I don't think.
But you remember Graham?
Yes.
But yeah, maybe not till later.
Yeah, I don't remember him as advanced training. So, or.
Well, with the way he said that he went to Charlie Company with you guys, but I don't know how long he stayed in your platoon, because he didn't get along with the Charlie Company NCOs.
Yeah, he never liked taking orders, but that's what that's what the Army is all
Yeah.
about, taking orders.
But he got along with Captain Wise for whatever reason. So I think Charlie Company, the way he told it was that Charlie Company wanted to kick him out, and then Wise kind of
Gave him a chance.
came and said, well, let him come back to my company and we'll make a soldier out of him. But he would say that his life would have turned out a lot different if he had gotten kicked out of the Army. But yeah, he comes up quite a bit later on throughout your story.
Yeah, he was in jail while being on our ship, Gaffey. He was in there for a while, and when we got to Vietnam, then he picked another fight, and he got in jail again for quite a few months.
Yeah, it was 3 months once he got into Vietnam. I think until November.
Mm-hmm.
So when you guys left in August of '66. But so what do you remember about the ship? Fort Carson, you took a bunch of buses to get to San Francisco? Or did you fly there?
I think we flew there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then San Francisco Bay, there's this big old troop transport ship. So what do you remember about that?
Yeah, I think when I walked into on the ship, I started getting sick already, and when I walked back off of it, I looked at the ship and the dock, and they wasn't moving at all. It was perfectly still, but yet in my head I thought we were swaying back and forth, and that made me sick.
So you were seasick before you even left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people got sick eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what did you get? What did they do to keep you busy on the ship?
Well, exercising. They had boxing matches. And after that, cleaning, washing the deck down. Not much more you can do.
Do you remember your bunks at all?
Oh,
Where you
yeah,
had to
the
sleep?
bunks were, I think there were at least 3 decks high.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were very crowded. And we had to climb on top of each other to get on to the next bunk, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it was hot, you know, you're all in an enclosed area down below the deck. And it wasn't a fun trip, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, in your letters you wrote that it was either you or Donald Rankin wrote that the ship was supposed to carry about 600 troops, but there was closer to a couple thousand.
Yeah,
So I don't know how true that was, but it was for sure. It was more than they would normally have, I think. So it was hot. Do you remember anything about the typhoon?
Well, I guess it was really, really rough, and I guess it sprung a leak, and then we'd had to, I believe it was Taiwan where we...
Or Okinawa.
Okinawa,
is what, yeah.
And we had to stop and get things patched up, and then from there we went to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and your friend Marvin, when we talked to him, he talked about when he was trying to go to the bathroom, there was water sloshing all over his feet in the latrine or the head or whatever you call it on a Navy ship. Yeah,
Latrines, yeah.
During the typhoon, and then he said they kicked everyone off the boat in Okinawa and gave them free beer on the beach, and then everybody got drunk, and then they had to try to get everyone back that night. So, but they were repairing the boat, I think.
Yeah,
is what some people said. Some people don't remember it that way, but everyone remembers it did stop. You know, They stopped on an island.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't for long, just a couple of days or maybe at the most.
Yeah. So then a couple nights later, you get to Quinyon, which is a port.
Yeah, a small city.
There's a city on the South China Sea, and this is where but the boat couldn't come in all the way, right?
Right. There wasn't the water wasn't deep enough, so we had to climb onto a smaller boat, and then we were able to get onto Vietnam. But as I was waiting there and listening to the instructions, somebody stole my helmet, and then a sergeant came by and asked me where's my helmet, and he was giving me heck about it. And
this is on the beach.
Not on the beach,
in the LCU.
On
the boat.
I think it was on Gaffey yet. We still haven't.
Oh, okay.
We haven't. So Sergeant Potter came by and told him to just mind your own troops, and I'll take care of this one.
Yeah.
So,
because he was from Bravo Company.
yeah, he was our first sergeant,
And Potter was your first sergeant.
yes,
Yeah.
so he was a good guy. I always remember that.
Yeah. Well, when you got into those boats, they call them LCUs, or landing craft
Yes.
utilities. They look like those things from Saving Private Ryan when they're the D-Day invasion. They're
Sure,
the same,
yeah,
the
same
same
things.
boats, right?
Yes.
Did you think you might be getting shot at?
Oh no.
Because some of the guys did.
Well, yeah, they would have certainly have told us to be prepared, but
I think in some of the other platoons, the NCOs some of them were Korean War veterans, and they told some of the younger guys that they were going to be storming the beach, and so they were wondering why they didn't have more ammunition.
yeah.
But yeah, that was just some of them. So then you're out on the beach. There's people there. Did you see what happened when you got on the beach?
Well, they started shipping us by, I believe it was by airplane to NK, to Camp Radcliffe. But there was a few of us that had to stay back to guard the supply materials.
Yeah, the stuff.
And so the next day, we went by those 2.5 ton trucks.
Or deuce and a half, did they call them?
Yeah, and
Just big open air trucks, right?
yeah, and there was maybe a dozen of us in the truck, and we had to ride about I think it was 40 miles north. And then as we were going along, we could see across the rice paddies, and there were trees on the other side, and you had the feeling that somebody would have their gun sights aiming at you, and that gave me a real eerie feeling, but I got over that. So, and then we finally arrived in NK. It was a very small village, and our place where we were to stay was Camp Radcliffe, which is about, they said, like 40 acres, and it was surrounded with fencing. And when we got there, they had a big tent for us to stay at until we got everything situated, and that's how that started.
I think because that group of you that went out there that second day,
Yes.
the people that went out on the airplane right from the beach, there was like a little airfield near the beach where you came in, but they actually had to put, I think Marvin and they talked about they actually had to put up those tents themselves and start digging ditches and stuff.
Mm.
So you probably got out of some work. Yeah. And he got sunburnt because he worked the whole day in his with his shirt off.
Yeah.
And they even had mortars coming in that night. And then there was a couple guys that tried to go into town and find some girls, and they got arrested.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff went on that just one night,
Yeah.
One night in Vietnam, they were already in trouble. Do you remember the band playing when the boat landed?
I heard that that story, but I don't remember it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you mentioned it in your
in
your letter. Yeah, we.
Remember a band playing when we left Vietnam.
Yeah. Well, they must have brought him around for all the big events,
Yeah.
But that whole getting off the boat, I think there was so many of those little boats that came back and forth to the beach. It was probably a lot of different waves of soldiers for the whole battalion. It wasn't just. There was other units on that boat too, on the Gaffey.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people probably have different memories. So what else about we call it Ankay, but it's Camp Radcliffe is the base camp, and it's up in the mountains of central Vietnam, or they call it Central Highlands.
Yes.
What else do you remember about Ankay?
Ankay, well, it had a lot of shops.
In the town.
In town.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't remember much about it. They had a lot of bars in parts of it.
Yeah.
And, I never bought anything there because didn't need to.
Did you go through the town of Ankay before you got to the base camp at all? Or was that just later?
I don't remember how we got there.
Yeah.
I imagine we had to get through town. Yeah.
Did you remember seeing the big that Hong Kong mountain with the big first air cavalry patch on it?
Yes. Yes.
I think you could probably see that for a long ways away. So was there more training at Ankay, or?
No, not much. Just trying to get used to the heat and the humidity. We practice pitching our poncho tents and learning how to sleep in the rain, which wasn't very very tough to do. Yeah, we didn't get much sleep until we finally get used to it. And then from there on, we went to guard Highway 19. We stayed on that area for a few days.
Or a few weeks.
Maybe a few weeks.
Yeah. How long? Well, let's see. So you got to Ankay the beginning of August. It was like August 2nd or something, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was at least 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks there, huh?
Yeah, I don't remember how long.
I know that. So when you first went out to Highway 19, which is just down, is that same highway that you took from? It's
Quin Yon to
Quin Yon is on the coast, and then Highway 19 goes all the way to Ankay,
and then to Pleiku.
Yeah, so this one highway keeps going, just winds all the way through what they call the Central Highlands,
yes.
all the way almost. Pleiku is kind of close to Cambodia and Laos, so Ankay is kind of like right in the middle of everything, and then that highway was
had to be protected.
Yeah, a lot of Army traffic and civilians.
Yes.
So what was the first mission?
Well, it was just a few of us. Maybe 5 or 6 of us went out on what they call a recon mission, just to see if there was any Viet Cong activities in the area, any signs of it.
And then was this in the jungle?
Yeah, it was kind of in a jungle area, and we came across this building which is made out of concrete. It was just a very small building, and we thought we'd camp there for the night. but you know, it was raining, and we couldn't really sleep on the ground. So we had to sleep on our helmets and lean ourselves against the wall of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we spent our first night on our first recon mission.
Yeah, Marvin talked about that. Was it like the water was just running right straight through the
Well, no,
building, or
I think it was just wet. The ground was just wet.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We weren't getting rained on. We're just that everything in there was wet because it didn't have a door. It didn't. It was just a single room.
Yeah. And then where did you come back to?
Oh, we came back to base camp. Not base camp,
Not
but
the base
to
camp.
where our
Like a little outpost?
outpost was. Yeah, on Highway 19.
So I think your platoon was in charge of an outpost along the highway. And there was like a hill, maybe. But then all the other platoons, they would have their own outpost.
Mm-hmm.
And then every once in a while, you know, maybe one squad would guard the outpost while the others searched around in the jungle.
Yeah.
And that was for a few weeks, I think. Until that first air assault mission.
Yeah, we went. I don't remember what the name of it was, but we landed into an open area, and as we were going through this, it looked like it was an area where they were chopping the trees down for logging, and then all of a sudden we got shot at, and everybody hit the ground, and I imagined we shot back, and they scared them away. But yeah, nobody got hurt, nobody got injured. So
Did anyone see the Viet Cong?
no, I don't. Not that I know of. Maybe they had. But that was our A Company's first experience getting shot at.
Yeah.
But, and then from there on, we went to let me look.
Well, what do you remember? You told me something about a skinny tree that you tried to hide behind.
Oh yeah, yeah. It wasn't much. It wasn't any protection whatsoever. But that was the best we could find, or I could find.
Uh-huh.
But we were just held up for 10 minutes or so, and then we continued on, went searching through the woods there.
Do you remember because it was probably the first time most of them got shot at, huh?
Yeah.
Even Sergeant Burtis, I don't know.
Yeah.
He'd been in the Army a while, but I don't think he had been to Vietnam before.
No. Everybody is new to this.
What did they look scared, or?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose especially the people up front,
Sure.
Yeah, the point people.
The guy who was on point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, after Highway 19 was a few weeks, and then there was your first air assault, where
Yes.
you actually went in with the helicopters
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know where we landed, but I remember going through the jungle, and then we came up on a hill, and it was a pretty open area up on this hill, and we were getting ready to stay there for the night, And so we had to pitch our tents, and Quinn and I were arguing about whose turn it was to dig a foxhole. But because the hill was really rocky and hard to dig in, and while we were arguing, we got shot at, and Burtis got shot in the belly, and we ran across on the other side of the hill, and then after a few minutes, we heard somebody hollering, for help, and here it was Sergeant Burtis, but we didn't know who it was, and Petrillo and I looked at each other, and we didn't know what to do, and never came across that I would ever would be needed to rescue somebody. But then we looked up, and here was Sergeant Potter running over to grab Sergeant Burtis, and he dragged him back to safety.
Uh-huh.
So that, yeah.
And that was in October.
That was our first casualty, I believe. And nobody got shot.
In your platoon it was probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think earlier in October there was that other battle, but so Petrillo, we didn't mention him before. He was from Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of like a country kid, kind of like you and Marvin.
Yeah.
Bierschbach. Yeah. Well, what do you remember about Petrillo?
Well, we had planned after we did our duty in Vietnam that we'd get together and start a taxidermist,
Mm-hmm.
becoming that.
Yeah, that was his hobby.
Yeah, he likes stuffing up animals, but that never happened. So
Yeah. One other thing so after Burtis got shot, he didn't come back out to the field, but he survived.
yes,
And then you guys remember the time when you were pulling guard duty? Sergeant Burtis asked, he hadn't been to church in 20 years.
yeah. He asked me, and well, it was Madison too.
Uh-huh.
Asked me to teach him how to pray. So I taught him how to say the Lord's Prayer. But I don't know why he asked just me. But Burtis and I seemed to get along quite well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad he got shot.
Yeah.
But then you saw him later at Ankei, I think, a few months later.
Yeah, I think before we left, I got a picture of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you guys are out in the field, how often did you get back to base camp?
Oh, I don't think we ever got back to base camp. We got close to it. We were at an outpost that was near base camp, where we stayed there for at least a month.
Yeah, but that was in like December.
Yeah.
So pretty much you guys were out in the field from September, when you left NK early in September, and then
We
didn't come back till December really.
Yeah, we went to different artillery units just to protect their place. So we would pull guard for them, and so that was our time of rest and getting all cleaned up again.
But they didn't have showers at most of those places, did they?
No.
Well, I guess it depends.
No. I can
So
only
like those fire bases were usually up on a hill, right?
usually.
And they would need a group, maybe a platoon or a company of infantry
Yeah.
soldiers to guard the base.
Yeah.
But that was considered your rest.
Rest period. Yes. And that
If you
was
were in the
always,
artillery, you could just be there the whole time.
yeah. If I was in artillery.
Yeah. But that's still out in the field though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So really you're really talking about a few months before you get to come back and really have a real rest. Because even at the fire bases, you still have to pull guard duty,
Yes.
and you're still sleeping in the dirt. So, it's a little better than being in the middle of the jungle, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really nice.
And then, well, we didn't talk about all the stuff you carried. But typically, what did you have to carry along with you when you're marching through the jungle?
Well, we carried, with the five of us that were in the mortars, we carried, took turns carrying part of the mortars. And along with that, we just carried either an air mattress or piece of plastic to lay down on, and then a poncho to use for a tent.
And that's just a big plastic sheet with
Yeah.
some buttonholes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then your ammunition you carried in, and along with your M16, and all your other personal stuff that you normally would carry with you.
But not really any extra clothes.
No, no extra clothes. We never wore underwear or socks. So
Well, you wore socks, but not underwear.
I didn't wear socks.
You wear socks?
No. No. For one thing, they would get wet, and then you wouldn't. Then you'd stay wet all day. But no.
Yeah, I knew that was a problem. I didn't know not wearing socks would be an option. Did your feet dry out faster?
Yeah, sure. Those boots that we wore were kind of like heavy duty tennis shoes.
Right. The jungle boots.
Jungle boots, yeah.
But you had to make your clothes last a while.
Yes, and
So you were
then
supposed
the
to
first
bring-
time around, we didn't get change of clothes for at least 5 or 6 weeks, and that was because of a guy back at base camp. He was either an officer or a sergeant, and he was selling all these supply clothes and blankets to the Vietnamese. And finally, he got caught, and then he was sent to prison, is what I've heard.
Yeah. And the poncho liners,
Yeah,
which were
a
they're like those light blankets that are like
it was a really nice light blanket.
Yeah.
Kept you warm at night.
um
But we never had a pillow, so
They still use those same poncho liners today.
Good.
I think they still have similar.
Mm. Poncho blankets, you mean?
Well, they're like a blanket, but they call them poncho liner. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't know why they call them a poncho liner. It's really just a blanket.
Yeah, it was a nice, really nice blanket.
But they dry out fast.
Yes.
It's not like an old wool blanket that
Right.
stays wet
Right.
and heavy. So that's a lot of time in the same uniform. You know, Marvin said they would just kind of start falling off your body before they got new. Well, what did you do with the old uniforms then when they finally did? They come in on the helicopter.
I think they probably would have gathered them all up and brought them back to base camp, and
I think they. I don't know. He said they burned them.
and then burned them after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think they were pretty much worn out. Okay, so there was October 4th, this was before Bertus got shot.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first big battle that the company was in, you know, more than just a firefight.
Yeah.
And it was alongside of all the some ARVN battalions, and some other Army battalions, and some Korean battalions. And I don't think you remember too much about it, but you wrote about it in your letters.
Mm-hmm.
And that was instead of going into the highlands, you were going back towards the sea through, I think it was probably a lot of rice paddies.
Yeah.
And do you remember searching a lot of villages?
Yes. We're just looking for signs of the VCs being there, to see if they had ammunition stored in their houses. If we found anything like that, then we'd burn down the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how many times that happened, but it wasn't very often.
You wrote I think you, and also there was letters from this Donald Rankin, who was he was Captain Wise's, your company commander's radio operator.
Yes.
They said the villagers were always happy to see us. Usually,
Usually, yeah.
and if they weren't, then he figured the VC was usually a bad sign.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, so October, there was a lot of villages to search that day, and then there was something about a rescue mission to find a pilot that went down during that same battle.
Yeah.
And then you didn't remember much about it, and I hadn't talked to anyone yet that remembered anything about it. And I talked to the daughter of the first guy that was killed in action. That was Sam Daly's daughter, and she was wondering about what happened, but we didn't know if they rescued the helic. But then in your letter told us that when I finally started going through your letters, they said that you guys rescued the pilot, but also it was a pretty rough day too.
Mm-hmm.
But there was two people killed in action on October 4th.
Yes.
And that was it was more of those missions in the rice paddies, between the rice paddies and the jungles.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we talked about when Bertus got shot, and then November 1st First platoon got sent out on a mission to help another unit, but you guys were at Camp Hammond, and the one fellow from Wisconsin got killed, that Michael Stofflet. But he was in first platoon, and then so that kind of brings us to November 19th. You remembered a little bit about that day.
Yeah, that's when our battalion commander, Colonel Sweat, came out to visit a fellow in the rifle platoon, Alan Weissman, and he wanted to tell Alan that he inherited $1 million.
Yeah, because his aunt had just passed away.
Yeah, and then that night, Alan got killed.
Yeah.
Alan got killed, and so did Weidman.
Yeah. One of the sergeants.
One of the sergeants, yeah. And then there was many others that were wounded. But we had to supply artillery, not artillery,
Your
but
mortars.
Mortars,
Yeah.
and because we accidentally came across this a large
Like a bunker.
Viet Cong place,
Mm-hmm.
and there was we fought them all through the night until they finally ran off, and so
Mm-hmm. And it was 5 that died.
5 of us that got
Yeah.
killed. Yeah. I don't remember all the names of them, but
And Alan Weissman was he was the only Jewish soldier in the company.
yes.
Maybe not the only one, but that's what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Weidman that you mentioned, he was a staff sergeant. He was awarded, I think, a Silver Star or a it was something. I think it was a Silver Star. There was another. Yeah, who the other guys were. I remember what Marvin Bierschbach mentioned, because he was in your mortar team.
Yes.
Was just that you guys stayed up all night
Yes.
firing the mortars. And then, and you guys were kind of towards the bottom of the hill. And the fighting was kind of up in the jungle area on top of it somewhere. Fred Berdozzi, who was from Florida, and he was also in your platoon, your mortar platoon.
Yeah.
He said he remembered just the helicopters landing at night, just filled up with ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just were just bringing in as much ammunition as they could.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 2 platoons that were up there, they were stuck. They couldn't break contact or get away, and so everybody was stuck where they were at even the wound. They couldn't get the wounded out unless they could walk down the hill.
Yeah.
They had to wait till morning.
Yeah, and if they would have gotten a couple more of them out, they would have survived. But I think they bled to death
Mm-hmm.
while they were on the.
Yeah. Bobby Hansen, remember him that we
Sure.
met? Yeah. Woodford, it said there was a new guy that just showed up in the company. So he hadn't been with everyone else at Fort Carson, but he was a replacement. And it was when Weidman got shot initially. Their sergeant got shot, and Hansen and this other guy were gonna try to drag him back. And as they were standing up, this new guy, Woodruff PFC Woodruff, Eddie Woodruff, I think. He just stood up and was gonna run out there, and he just got shot right away. And then he was still alive, and they wanted to bring him back down, but they had to stay in, and they needed people to keep fighting. So their lieutenant wouldn't let them bring him down. So,
Well, it would have been pretty risky too, because they would have gotten shot at.
yeah, he thought. Well, I don't know. That's just what he said. He thought they could have got him back down and could have saved him. It was a sucking chest wound. But who knows?
Yeah.
That's just the way he recalled it. So after that battle, do you remember the next morning?
Yeah, then bringing, I remember Weidman down, and his arm was and fist were raised.
So we were talking about November 19th in the morning after. And it was just I think a sad time that a lot of people remember of all of the dead and wounded were up on that hill, and they had to carry them down because the helicopters couldn't get up there. Bob Matula talked about carrying the guys down and what he remembered, and he was friends with Alan Wiseman. So that was a pretty sad day. But what happened after that?
Yeah, they brought him down the hill, and you could see Weidman's arm and his fists were raised up in the air, and that's all what I remember of it.
Yeah, the rigor mortis.
Rigor mortis that set in.
Well, that's a vision that kind of stays with you.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure. After that, you guys were still out in the field. But that's not what you remember as your worst day. What would you say that was?
That would have been about a week later on Thanksgiving Day, and we were coming out of the forest, and then we walked into the rice paddies, and we were held up there for a while, and then Captain Wise was in the middle of the rice paddies along with Rankins, the radio operator. And when the two of them stood up, Rankin got shot in the head, and I believe that they were being attacked by the VCs that were in the trees and in spider holes, as they call them. They pop up under out of the ground, and then we get attacked that way. So 7 of us were killed. I think one of the guys was from another unit. But there were 7 killed, and we had to carry Rankins out of the rice paddies, the 4 of us, and we carried him out to on the ground and near a village, and we lined up all 7 of the dead bodies. We covered them with our ponchos, and then that evening they brought in a special meal for us for Thanksgiving. And gave up a lot of our ponchos, so we had to pitch a number of other guys' ponchos together, and
Yeah, because the ponchos are what you normally use for your tents.
yeah, so we were short on our tents, so
And it was raining.
and it was
right?
raining, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we made it through that night, but that was probably the worst day
Uh-huh.
that we'd had, that I experienced.
Yeah. A lot of people talked about that day. And there was one of the lieutenants, Lieutenant Gallagher, I think he was a 1st Platoon lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
He said when the chopper landed, or it was coming down with the Thanksgiving meal, and there was 6 or 7 bodies lined up with the ponchos, and it kind of blew the ponchos back from the wind from the helicopter, and he remembers the look on the faces of the helicopter crew when they saw that. It had to be not what they were expecting. But yeah, it was a pretty bad Thanksgiving. And then it was still about another week till you guys finally came out of the field.
Yeah.
And got to go back to Ankh.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about Thanksgiving, and there was your company radio operator, the one that you and Martin Quinn mentioned this too. He was helping to carry him out of the rice paddy.
Uh-huh.
But there was quite a few other. One was a guy from St. Paul, Thomas Erickson, I think was his name. But then you remember a guy named Duncan.
Yeah, and he was with that sergeant back at base camp who was selling all the clothes and blankets to the Vietnamese. And Duncan, we assumed or presumed that he was doing the wrong thing, so he wanted to get out of that unit, and he wanted to join us at A Company. And so he was only with us for a week or less, and then he got killed that day.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave up a perfectly safe job back at base camp, and then
Right.
getting killed so soon.
And Robert Matulik, who was your communications NCO, he said there was 2 other guys that came from base camp about the same time, and those were another couple guys that they both got killed on Thanksgiving too.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, you did get back to Ankh for about a week, maybe, before you went out to the outpost.
Oh, okay.
Just long enough to get showers and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
At LZ's John.
Yeah. So at Ankh, there was a few places you could get drinks, or clubhouses they called them.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about those?
No, I don't think I ever went to one.
You just wrote about one once, and you said you saw Berdozzi,
Mm-hmm.
Fred Berdozzi there.
Huh.
But that was, that was a pretty short time. But you got to get some showers and some fresh clothes, I think. And instead of, but do you remember how instead of tents you had wooden barracks?
Yes, yeah. It's while we were out in the fields for quite a few weeks. They built us a nice wooden frame barracks, and that was really nice. So yeah, so we stayed there just for a short time, and then went out to LZ John, and then we had to make a landing zone for the helicopters. So we had to blow up these trees, and we used that explosive C4 to pack it around the tree. And one time there was a big tree, and we packed a little more of that C4 around it. And I wanted to get further away, but they set the explosives off before I had the chance to get under cover. So a small rock hit me in the arm, and so I ended up in the hospital, and they took x-rays of it and tried to find it, but they couldn't get it out. So I stayed in the hospital for a few days, maybe 5. And that was really a nice treat, you know, a dry, clean bed, and a lot of pretty nurses around you.
And you could listen to football on the radio.
Oh,
The Packers were playing. You wrote about that in your letters.
Oh, yeah.
There was one thing that you wrote that was kind of funny, like in regular life you never want to get hurt, but in the Army you're always hoping to get hurt.
Yeah, that's for sure. A big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rodney was mad at you for not being out there helping with the build the LZ.
Yeah, LZ.
They were building bunkers and digging trenches and all kinds of stuff.
I remember sleeping in these bunkers, which was built under the 109 guns, which is a huge artillery gun. And as you were sleeping, you know, the gun would go off, and the concussion of the gun, I mean, it would blow you up in the air.
Oh, jeez.
But still, you'd sleep through it.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know why they built it, you know, over a barracks, or not a barracks, but a bunker. But
And so LZ John, you're there from like December and January.
yeah,
So maybe 6 weeks or so.
yes,
The rest of the company, I think a lot of the company got to stay right in NK, and you guys had to be stuck out at that outpost. I'm not sure, because I think a lot of them were guarding, like Graham said he was guarding towers. Was one of the things, and that's what some other people talked about that too. But the outpost that you guys were at was, you said it was maybe 5 miles outside of the base camp?
yeah. I don't know how far away, but it was far enough. And,
Yeah.
yeah, while I was out there, I got contact with a ringworm on my leg. So I had to go in to see the medic in the base camp.
And Elmer went with you.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Elmer. So we didn't mention Kurt Elmer was from Harlem,
Yeah.
but he was the only white guy from Harlem that, and his parents were immigrated from, I think, Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was your buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then they gave me some medicine to apply on my leg, and And on the way back, I heard that Bob Hope was at base camp, and so I thought I'd just go listen to him for a while. So after a few hours, or I don't know how long it was, but when I got back to our unit, the sergeant, says why I took so long, and I told him, and so he reprimanded me and told me I had to do KP duties for the next couple of days. So
You and Elmer both?
I don't remember Elmer being there with me, but maybe, and I think Elmer probably went back. I don't know. But anyway, I had to stay there at base camp for a day and do KP duties, which was well worth it.
Sure.
So it was fun. That was the best day in Vietnam.
Yeah. There was one other time when you guys were at the LZ, a girl showed up.
Oh yeah, Noel, Chris Noel.
Yeah.
And first time I seen a woman in a miniskirt. So she was a very important person that encouraged all of us to keep fighting, and she was on the radio, I guess, a few times and talking to the troops and
On the AFVN, or the Armed Forces
radio
network, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, she was a DJ, or she played music on there. But she visited. She went to a lot of places that the Bob Hope show couldn't go to.
Mm-hmm.
They were more dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think her helicopter got shot down a couple times. But
Yeah, she was a brave girl.
yeah, so y'all got to meet her on one day, and then but that whole time period was kind of like a break from the real war, you know, because you were in the field, but you weren't going out and doing patrols like you had been.
Mm-hmm.
And then so everything was gonna change right at the beginning of February. And so there's something about that day, and I'd asked you this before, but you kind of remember, but when the whole company, well, really the whole battalion went back out to the field to start operations again. They kicked it off. They were gonna they were gonna build a fire base on top of this hill called LZ Hump, and it was right next to that valley where you guys had fought on Thanksgiving. It was basically the hill right next to it. And usually those fire bases you'd have to clear out, just shave off the top of the mountain basically, and then put a bunch of artillery on there. But none of that had started yet. So the first thing to do was start, bringing the troops up there. And we mentioned your buddy Rodney. He ended up in Delta Company in your same battalion. So I think the way it said in the situation reports was that they rappelled out of helicopters on ropes, like out of the Hueys, the small helicopters.
Yeah.
So that they could get down there fast, and then they started clearing land with some engineers or something. But you guys, the Alpha Company was the next one, and this is the picture that's on the back of the book, was from a journalist that took a picture of this. But it's all you guys coming out of the Chinook helicopter on rope ladders through the trees. What do you remember that?
Yeah,
a little bit?
yeah. It was a risky operation, but it went pretty smooth. So everything went okay without any problems that I know of.
But you're going down with all your gear.
Yeah, it was.
And it's a long ways down. It was maybe 30, 40 feet.
Oh yeah, at least, yeah. Yeah, it was.
And the helicopters are just kind of hovering, right?
Yes, yeah.
And do you remember practicing that kind of?
No, we never practiced anything like that before.
Hmm.
We would rappel out of a helicopter, but we never done that either. We did it in basic training or advanced training.
Yeah.
But we never had to use
Not the rope ladders.
the rope ladders or rappelling.
But at least rappelling, everybody gets out fast.
Yeah.
And I even looked at they reported on their situation reports like how long it took.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I think they said it took 17 minutes to unload the first helicopter. So it's a long time.
Yeah. If you're ever getting shot at, I don't think
Then
that
it's a long time for the enemy to come and see where you're at. So Martin Quinn talked about that and said what he remembered was the guy that was coming down the rope ladder above him kept stepping on his feet.
On his hands.
Yeah, stepping on his fingers.
Yeah.
And that's how that operation got kicked off. And then it sounded like there was, because you were writing letters at that time, and you talked about you were back to, clearing,
Landing zones.
blowing up trees.
Blowing it, yeah.
Kind of what you did at LZ John, except this was
But bigger.
and they're actually going to have artillery there. So then, how did they get all that stuff out there?
Oh, if it was Chinooks, they brought in a bulldozer with another helicopter.
A sky crane?
Sky crane, yeah.
Those are big, weird-looking things.
Yeah. And most of the equipment came by Chinooks. You know, they carried that in. Artillery ammunition.
Yeah, you had a few photos of those.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked like a lot of trees laying around, and a lot of junk, like just made a mess of the place. And then after that, it was back into the jungle. We talked a little bit about because there was a few different fire bases. That was just one of them. Was LZ Hump was the one that you kind of set up from scratch. But then later on, you went to LZ Pony.
Yes, that was a special place. It was next to a Vietnamese village, and we could mingle among those people and watched a carpenter build a house, and a woman, she was grinding rice or some sort of seeds, and we're able to look inside a house, a regular house, with grass roof and dirt floors. Yeah, they were happy people. They, I guess they accepted us being there, and we liked them. And we give them some sea rations and any food that we'd have on hand. And I noticed sometimes when we went to like Bong Song, the town of Bong Song, we'd go in through their town, and I noticed that sea rations were for sale in their stores. So they weren't starving, that's for sure.
No. So you wrote about a kid that was, you called him your little buddy, but
Yeah.
Ten Nyen.
Yeah, I talked with him, as much as we were able to, and he was I think he tended the cattle that they had out in around their village.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of became friends, Kind of wonder what happened to him. He was just a young kid.
Yeah, about 10 years old.
Yeah, maybe 10, 11. And all those little kids that maybe 2 years, 1 to 2 years old, they didn't have no diapers. They just had a
just
shirt
run around
on.
naked.
Yeah. So wherever they had to pee, they just
Well, you don't have to change
they
diapers.
didn't have to change diapers. No Pampers out there.
Well, yeah, in one of the letters you said I remember reading about these people in geography class, and here I am seeing it for real.
Oh yeah.
The first time you went through a village, it's what you wrote, yeah. And then in so there was some more firefights and some more battles, but in March, you got to go on R&R, or that's what they call rest and recuperation.
Yes. Yeah, I went to Hong Kong, and we were there for a few days. I think it was around Easter time, and I went to church, and after I came out of church, I realized it was an Episcopalian church,
Yeah.
not a Catholic church. So, I guess that was okay.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. But we got to ride around in rickshaws.
The rickshaws.
Rickshaws, yeah. Give them a
Those are
quarter.
the carts where they just
pull you.
pull you on foot.
Yeah, on foot.
Yeah.
Two-wheel carts.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was fun. So I got a suit made up, but it was pretty poorly made. Didn't last very long.
Yeah.
And I bought a tape recorder with some Beatles music.
Uh-huh.
And I sent it home, but I don't know whatever happened to it. I don't think it ever made it.
I know that, well, talk about tape recorders. In your letters, you said you were talking about your mom and dad sending you a tape recording of them. And then you were...
I was able to play it.
Yeah, you played it, and then you were going to record something and send it back to them.
Yeah.
But, Quinn was saying that Petrillo had one that people used too.
Mm-hmm.
There was probably a few of them around. How big was a tape recorder in those? Is probably the size of a...
About like a laptop.
Yeah.
But with much thicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, probably didn't package it right. I didn't know how to do
Oh.
it.
I think you probably did send a tape back though, because they didn't.
The
I
tape.
think they had their own tape recorder at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Who
recall
knows?
anymore.
Yeah.
But the recorder itself, I think, got lost somewhere.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So when you went on R&R, did they tell you what hotel to go to, or
Yeah.
how'd you know what to do?
Yeah.
and it was all like other? But there wasn't any of your buddies that went with you?
No,
They
but
just-
they were part of the battalion. The
Other
guys.
people in the battalion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a couple, maybe can't remember his name.
So you knew them a little bit,
Yeah,
at least.
knew
They weren't
'em.
total strangers.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had a few bars and watched them singing and dancing.
And that was Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Yeah.
And then you came back, and then, what was it? Around the end of April or May, beginning of May, your dad was having a surgery, and they sent you home
Yeah, I was
for a few weeks.
I was home for about a month,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had to take care of the cows, get them milked and fed.
It was just you and Mike then.
Yeah, it was just me and Mike. So that was a nice vacation, you might say.
Did you know if you're gonna have to go back or not at first?
No, I didn't know if because it was going to only be a short time, just 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
But they said they needed experienced soldiers.
Oh.
So I said, well, I couldn't get out of it.
No. Because it'll be about 2 months left.
Yeah.
2 months left to go. It'll be June and July. A lot of people were already out of the company, or they've been either they got wounded or they got sent to another unit. So there wasn't. You guys went there as a big group, you know.
Mhm.
But I think there was only kind of a small handful left in your platoon that were there from the beginning, right?
Right, because a lot of them got transferred for. We just didn't want everybody to be getting out of the service at the same time, out of the same unit,
Right.
because we wouldn't have anybody left. So they kind of mixed in new people and shipped out the others.
Yeah, and
to-
they'd send
to
them to other units.
Other units.
So
And-
Beer Spot, he got transferred.
Yeah. So there was 6 of us, 5 or 6 of us left.
And a platoon started out with maybe 30 people,
Yeah, maybe not that
or
many
not
even.
quite, somewhere
Maybe
between 20 and 30, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, by the time we got to leave Vietnam, we started out with 115, 120 people, soldiers in our company, and about 35 of us got killed, and it probably double that for those that got wounded.
Right.
So I guess I was pretty lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you came back, well, they call it emergency leave, but when you came back from the farm after your dad's surgery, and you mentioned something about when you were going through, you had to go through NK, and then they fly you out on probably a helicopter with the food. One of the officers there said, we need, what did he say? He said, we need more guys like you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need more guys with experience.
Experience.
They're like, oh, I only got 2 months left.
Yeah.
I gotta stick around any longer. I wonder if that was Captain Grady who said that.
Well, no, it was somebody back in the States.
Oh, it was in the States. I thought it was
Yeah.
at NK.
No, no.
Because you went through San Francisco again, right?
Yeah, I get mixed up. I don't know where it was.
Yeah,
I think
there's
it
a lot
was
of places.
probably San Francisco. Had to report back to.
Well, on your way home, I forgot to mention at the airport in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
You saw,
Robert Kennedy.
yeah, Senator Robert Kennedy, who was running for president
Yeah.
at the time. And you got a picture of him,
Yeah.
and that was just going through there on your way home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we got home, I guess there was a lot of war protesters, and my brother-in-law said that when he was on the bus with his other fellow veterans, they couldn't get off the bus because there was too many protesters waiting outside. And so they stayed in the bus for about 3 hours until all the protesters left.
Oh.
And then I guess one of my friends from our Alpha company said that when he applied for a job at La Crosse, the foreman said that not to mention where he was from, because there was a lot of war protesters in his factory.
Right.
And I also found that my friend at church said that that his brother called him a baby killer.
Oh, his own brother.
Yeah, his own brother. And even though Francis was in the Navy and he was maybe stationed outside of Vietnam in the boats, he still called him a baby killer, and they never spoke to each other ever since. So
Oh, yeah, that's a long
yeah,
time.
it was bad.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So when you came back to the farm and you still had a couple months to go, Quinn was still there, Martin Quinn. And then you found out about what had happened while you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
What did he tell you?
Yeah, he said that Fulford and Petrilla were killed, and Sergeant Hayslip got killed, which was a surprise.
Yeah. And those were guys in your platoon.
But platoon. So I guess I was very lucky that I wasn't there, but I kind of wish I was, because, yeah, I kind of want to be there with your friends if they're going to get killed.
Mm.
But,
yeah. And Sergeant Hayslip was
took place of Sergeant Brutus.
a Burtis.
Burtis.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't know this till I talked to Graham. He said that Sergeant Hayslip was he was half American Indian, but also he couldn't read very well, and he would have Graham read his letters from home. Yeah.
Ain't that something?
I don't know if he, and then what he said that he would always say is, I think, something normal, sergeants are always telling their guys not to bunch up. That's pretty common. Like,
Mhm.
you know, when you're going through the jungle or any kind of patrol, it's like you want to stay spread out
Yeah.
so that if someone throws a grenade, you don't all get killed at once.
Yeah.
And but he would say, Graham said that Hayslip would always say, don't bunch up, troops, else they'll just be a puff of smoke circling around where you used to was.
Used to
It was
was.
like used to was, but that's how he said it. Yeah. But yeah, so there was Martin Quinn talked about, and Marvin Bierschbach, they both, and Graham, they all talked about what happened on May 19th, and that's a pretty long story, but that was seven more people that died. So 3 of them from your platoon, but then, you know, there was some new guys that just got to the company a couple weeks before, which is kind of, seemed like every one of those big battles there's always some new guys that were getting killed.
Because they were the first ones that, if you're unexperienced, you would be put up in point.
Sure.
So you're usually the first ones to get killed,
Yeah, I suppose.
shot at.
But so, and then it was your friend Petrillo and Fulford. They were pretty good friends.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, one time Fulford was, I was feeling pretty sick, and I told Sergeant Hayslip that I can't go out on this patrol because I wasn't feeling well, and
it was more like, sounded like it was like dysentery or something.
yeah, yeah, and he said I had to go out there with the other 5 or 6 guys, and Fulford said no, he's not feeling good, so he convinced Hayslip that I should stay back. And when I was feeling good, when I was feeling bad that night, I had the diarrhea so bad that I had to get to the medic tent.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, this was one of the bigger camps where they had dispensary.
Mm-hmm.
So as I tried to get over there, I had to take my shovel with me and then dig a hole quick. And this was at night, and this was I had to dig a hole quick and poop in it, and then go a few more feet, 15, 20 feet, and then I had to dig another hole, poop in it again. And finally I would make it over to the dispensary, and then they gave me some medicine, and then I was okay for the next day. But whatever happened, it wasn't any good.
There weren't any outhouses at that place.
It probably was. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I know I didn't use them.
Well, most of the fire bases wouldn't have them, but some of the camps would.
Yeah.
And you never had to burn what they call the shit cans?
No, I never did that. No.
Graham talked about he had to do that a few times. He got in a fight with the sergeant
Yeah.
over it. It wasn't fun, I guess.
Yeah, you poured diesel oil on
Yeah.
top of the can of poop,
Yeah.
and then you light it on fire, and it would smell up the whole place.
I guess that you'd have to stay and stir it, which is that's the
Yeah.
you smell for the rest of the day. So for those last few months, then after you got back, it was Martin Quinn. As far as your buddies
Yeah.
in the platoon, it was Bierschbach was gone, so it was Quinn, and Elmer was still there.
And Anderson and Lucien.
Yeah, Lucier, or
Lucier.
however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Is that 5 total? I think it
Yeah.
was 5, including you. So.
Me.
So. And then most of that time was out in Khartoum, which was kind of farther west towards Laos. Do you remember anything different about the jungles there, or was it just pretty much the same?
Same, yeah.
But a lot of up and down the mountains.
Yeah, yeah. One time we had to sleep on a hill,
Uh-huh.
and it was so darn steep that you couldn't sleep at all. So we just sat there and
Leaned up against a
leaned
tree.
up against a tree, or it was.
Fred Berdosi told me of a time where he took his rifle and he put it between 2 trees to hold him from rolling down the hill.
Hmm. That's probably one at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. But nothing real bad happened those last 2 months.
Oh,
And I kept, I read through all the letters and the situation reports. I think you did get shot at LZ Hasty, but not like a battle, just like someone kept firing at the fire base where you guys were guarding.
yeah. There was one other time when we got shot at going through the rice paddies, and we fired back. And after the battle was over with, one of the guys showed me his helmet, that he had a bullet hole right in the center of it,
Uh-huh.
and it scratched the scalp of his head, and he had to go in and get stitches put in.
Uh-huh.
So that was I don't think nobody got killed. I don't recall.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a close call for this guy. I said, "Oh, it was." And then eventually he wanted to keep the helmet, but it got stolen.
Oh.
So
Yeah, you wrote about that in one of the letters.
yeah,
I think it was after October 4th.
yeah. And during those times too, there was another firefight, and you could see the tracer bullets flying over your head.
Mm-hmm.
And we all ducked down and got behind those dikes in the rice paddies. And here was Leroy. He was tall, Leroy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was looking around, and we all hollered at him, get down, Leroy. And finally he got the message, and guess he was looking for where everybody went to and so on.
Right.
But he didn't last long. I think he got kicked out of our unit,
Well, you didn't get shot.
but he didn't get shot. Yeah, but you could see the red tracer bullets flying over you. So
Yeah. It'd be scary. What do you remember about the rice paddies? You didn't really talk about those.
well, I think one night we had to sleep on the dikes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Marvin remembered that.
I said, "What's the point was that?" I think we were trying to draw, we were set up as baits,
Yeah.
and if we get shot at, we could bring in artillery fire and on those places. But yeah, just sleeping on top of the dikes, you didn't want to roll off one side or the other. You'd be in the water.
Was that just one night? You remember that?
Yeah, just one night
Oh.
that we ever had to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember getting mosquito bites, although Marvin said that we did have a lot of it. We had mosquito repellent, but
And mosquito nets.
mosquito nets, but we didn't. I never used nets. And then we always take the malaria pills. You know, one big pill on Mondays, and then
The big orange one.
and then the little white ones every day to prevent catching malaria.
A few people still got it.
Yeah. I think our Captain Weiss got malaria, and so he was only with us for about
Well, he's with you till May.
3/4 of the time.
What about Colonel Sweat? I know he got sick.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
battalion commander. In December, he had to leave.
I don't know much about that.
Well, so before we get to the end, we were talking about the last 2 months. The last 2 months in the field, and then it just happened to be Khantum province in the Highlands, but wasn't much different than the rest of the Highlands. It was just a little more remote. And your fire bases were getting shot at once in a while, but you didn't. There was only, so when I read through the situation reports, it was just one actual firefight in July, and after that, what it talked about as far as your patrols was just finding a lot of enemy huts, like where they would have a little camp established, and then they would move on and they'd burn them down, or they'd find places where the enemy had been.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt like the enemy was around. Do you remember, were you getting nervous at the end of when you only have a month or 2 months left? Did you feel like something bad was going to happen?
Yeah, well, yeah, I had that feeling, but wasn't anything you can do about it. So
Yeah.
you just, we just live with what our fear and put up with it.
Yeah. It rained a lot in July, in August, or June and July. I think June was super hot, and there was a lot of people with heat strokes. In July, it rained a lot. Your last month there, but you were still sending letters, and they just talked about how miserable and what it was mostly. But you didn't know exactly when you're, because everybody's got a year, and then you have they give you a, did you have a deroast date, or what they call date of expected return?
No,
You didn't have a specific date.
no. We knew it was coming up.
It should be coming up at the end of July,
Mhm.
because you got there in August, at the very beginning of August. So right up until the end, you're doing patrols and taking watch at night, and then one day some helicopters show up and they tell you to get on and get out of here.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was an extremely joyful day. So
Right.
I passed on the mortar base plate, on to the new guy, and
Yeah. Who was that? You remember?
I don't know.
Oh, just some new
just
guy. Said it's yours now.
It's yours, and good luck.
And you didn't go straight back to Ankh. Because I remember that last letter that you wrote was from LZ Hasty, which was just a fire base on one of those hills out there.
Yeah.
So you were still in the field, but then you were going back to, I think you were going back to Ankh the next day, and you were still up. You were.
Yeah, we're up on the hill, and they were passing out medals and promotions to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, you wrote about that. You said it was just like on TV.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yep. Let's see, and then you finally get back to Ankh with Elmer and Lucier and Quinn
Anderson.
and then you see Sergeant Burtis back there.
Yeah.
There's some pictures. You guys sending some packages home and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you were gonna fly. You can't fly directly from Ankh. You had to go to Pleiku, right?
Right.
And then it was raining.
And the flight was canceled because the weather was bad, and that was so depressing. Because all you could do is just sit in the barracks and wait. And finally, when the next day we got out, and we all cheered. So I think it was like a 10-hour air flight from Vietnam back to Fort Lewis, Washington, and they gave us a nice meal back then, and got our discharge papers.
Mm-hmm.
So told us how to catch a flight out of town, and I don't know how it all evolved, but it ended up in Minneapolis, I guess.
Yeah.
And then from there, my folks picked me up, and a few days later, Mom and Dad had relatives and friends come over for an evening, and I showed them my Vietnam pictures, and they all welcomed me back home, and that was nice.
Yeah.
But we never really talked much about Vietnam itself, not that I can remember. And so I guess people didn't ask me about my experience, so I never told them about it. So even with my co-workers or my friends or relatives. So not until you came along and started asking questions, and Misty asked me questions, and then we had a welcome back event in Colfax, and I was invited to go there. And
when was that?
I think it was before the pandemic. And my nephew Jan invited me to come over there, and it was a big celebration for a lot of dignitaries spoke.
Oh, okay.
Even Jacob Leinenkugels came and gave a speech.
That's good.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there. So they had helicopters and that we can reminisce with. And taking a lot of pictures. And, so that was very appreciated. And the grade schools, St. Peter's in Tilden, sent me a lot of letters of appreciation for my service. And that was greatly appreciated too. So that takes us to today.
Yeah. Well, right after the war, a lot of people didn't want to. A lot of people wanted to forget about it, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But even other veterans probably weren't too excited to talk or ask.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't blame them.
yeah. So, yeah, it's taken a long time for a lot of people.
I guess that's why I don't remember things,
Well,
because
yeah.
I never had to recall it. So
Yeah, it's hard to go. 50 years is a long time.
I remember all the guys that got killed. I remember all their names,
Yeah.
but now I can only remember a handful. So
Oh, okay. Well, so one of the things I learned a lot while we were working on this book. Was there anything that you learned that you didn't know before?
yeah, I didn't know about Alan Weiss.
About Alan Weisman?
Weissman inheriting $1 million
Oh.
and didn't get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all those other firefights that I didn't know much about, until you brought it up in the book.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them probably kind of a blur,
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them, if it's a company and your platoons are all spread out, one of them, something might be happening, and to you it might just be something in the distance, and then someone else is getting shot at. Who knows?
And Rodney Henning, when he was had to shoot a guy because the guy was aiming his rifle at him, and that affected Rodney quite a bit.
Oh, it did, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was the way it was told to me. They had like an ambush set up at night, and there was along a road, and they saw this guy coming along the road towards them, and then he disappeared, and they didn't know
If he was,
if it was a Viet Cong
or just a guy in the village.
yeah. It could have even been a soldier, a U.S. soldier. So they had to walk along the road and find him, and then he was in a bush, and he raised his rifle, and then they all shot at him.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. And you mentioned in the letters he was thinking about re-enlisting once, and then he's also thinking about officer school. But he must have decided against it in the end.
But he went to the reunions every year.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a big part of his life,
Sure.
the military. To me, I'd just soon
Yeah.
not be part of it. So.
Yeah. It kind of depends who's there. I wonder if, I think none of your guys that were in your platoon were part of the reunions,
No.
except for the one time that Martin Quinn came to the one.
Yeah.
But through over the years,
Yeah.
all those guys from New York, I don't think any of them, because
Ever showed up.
No, I mean, I talked to Joe Sanchez, and he just said, yeah, none of them ever. Because I think those were a lot of his friends too, were the guys from New York, even though he was in a different platoon. But if maybe if all those guys were going to the reunions in
They
all
would.
those years before, you probably would have said, "Oh yeah, you know,
didn't it? Yeah, that's
it'd be a little bit different." So, but you did keep up with your friend from St. Cloud, Marvin.
Yeah. And
Probably the one the most, and then also Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah, every year we'd write letters to each other at Christmas time. But after about 10, 15 years, he didn't want to return letters anymore. So, and now he doesn't want to. I called him. Called him a couple of times.
Oh, did you?
He didn't want to. He didn't answer the phone, so I just leave a message.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. I think he gets sad, or it must be hard for him. I don't know what,
Maybe.
but nothing personal. But I think he's always been kind of a hard guy to get a hold of.
Yeah.
But that's just the way.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
I emailed to Dennis and Bobby and asked him how he's doing.
Yeah.
He was going to sell his house in New York and move somewhere, New Jersey, I think.
Oh.
But he never did that I know of. I'll have to email him again and see how he's doing.
So you didn't really have any bad nightmares or any like traumatic stress kind of things?
No.
Not really?
No. Only that one dream I had that you and I were fighting against the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
And I told you to shoot carefully because you only got 20 bullets in each clip.
Right.
So
Yeah. Huh. But wasn't there some times where you kind of woke up fighting people?
yeah,
Or
but
maybe
they
that
wouldn't-
doesn't. You don't think that has nothing to do
Oh,
with it?
I'd still have that.
Yeah.
Well, just a few weeks ago, what was I was going to hit somebody, and I threw my fist and I landed on the floor,
Oh.
and on my knees too. Just
Huh.
yeah. I mean that happened. Then bears that would be attacking me one time, and I picked up the pillow and I thought I was throwing the bear out, and I threw a pillow across the room.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, so I meant to talk about it when we were talking about the voyage on the Gaffey.
Yeah.
But because we were talking about how Arnott Graham ended up in jail. That's he got in a few fights before when at Fort Carson, but he didn't get in too much trouble yet. But then there was an incident on the ship where he said he was working KP in the kitchen,
Yeah.
or they call it the galley maybe on the ship, and then he got into an argument with a guy, and one of his NCOs, he said his NCO came and was manhandling him, and then they said he punched the NCO. He says he doesn't remember it, or he remembers it, but he didn't think he punched him. But
Yeah,
That's-
who's word against the other.
no one really knows. But that's how he ended up in the brig for the rest of the voyage. Do you remember bringing him food?
No.
You said you and Elmer brought him food once in a
Oh,
while.
really?
Yeah. He might have been thinking of someone else, but he gave you credit for it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. You just wouldn't remember it, too. You know.
Yeah. Guess
But
that-
I mean, you were a fellow jailbird.
Yeah, I should
So-
know.
But he said that, and then they took him to Long Bin Jail after landing in Quignon.
Yeah.
But on the ship, they actually had the trial, and he was given 6 months of confinement. And after that, he'd start doing his tour, so it wasn't counting towards his it wasn't considered good time.
Right.
But he ended up only having to do 3 months. And I don't know if that was just because they needed him in the field. So
I think
Yeah.
that's what it was.
so after you guys left early in August in '67, he had another 3 months to go.
So,
But he came out. Like, he remembered finding out about Alan Wiseman when he was in the prison,
yeah.
reading it in the Stars and Stripes newspaper, and then right after that, they called his name on the squawk box or whatever, and told him to report. And they said, "Okay, well, we're sending you back out to the company now." But yeah, so while he was at Long Bin Jail, he said there was a riot on Labor Day in September. So just right after he got there, and they had to tear gas the place, and then yeah. But then there was in February when the company was attacked at night. He was manning a claymore mine and a trip flare.
Yeah. And he heard some noise out there, and he should have set off the claymore,
Yeah.
but he didn't. And then two of his friends got killed.
About an hour later, they did. Yeah.
So he has great regrets about that he didn't set off the claymore mine.
Yeah. So he blamed himself for. There was 4 people killed that night, but nobody really knows what set off the claymore, because that was quite a while before. And then there was also a bunch of people sleeping, I think. So it wasn't like he was the only one. He just wasn't close enough to his clacker to blow up the claymore and see who set off the flare. But it was in the middle of an operation where everyone had been up for quite a long time, and I think even people who were trying to stay awake were falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he should blame himself, but
But he holds that regret.
yeah. Well, was there anything else that you guys talked about when he called you?
Well, he just told me about his life
Yeah.
in New York, that he's got a job as installing elevators
Mm-hmm.
in buildings. So had a pretty good job. So other than that, I sent him all the pictures on a CD, but I never heard from him since. So
Yeah. I talked to him twice. He had a lot of stories.
mm-hmm.
Well, what else? Is there anything left that we didn't talk about?
Well, I think that's it.
Oh. Well, there was Ben wanted to know what kids were like back in the 60s, or how they're different from kids today, or if they're different.
Yeah, it's hard for me to judge. I think basically we're all the same, but I think they have a lot more, tremendous amount of more information that's available to them, and drugs are a lot more available to them, so they're under social pressure to, take drugs and use the social media much more than what we ever had opportunity to.
Yeah.
I guess having drugs is not an opportunity. So yeah, they're I think under more peer pressure than what we were.
Mm.
Other than that,
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben and his friends, they're mostly interested in the same things. Having fun, drinking beer.
yeah.
And Jake wanted to know how you was there any resentment you felt to the government after Vietnam, or what were what were your feelings? Did they change?
I guess I don't have resentment, but I think they should go into wars just because I think we gotta raise our standards as far as going into war. I mean, not to go to fight for wars boy, I don't know how to explain it. Well, we shouldn't be fighting wars that are not a threat to us. It's nice to help other countries, but to give up 54,000 lives for people on the other side of the world, I don't think it was needed.
Yeah, I don't, and that I'm sure it wasn't the original plan. I think they fought it the way they did to avoid another Korea. It was like 50-some thousand people were killed, but actually more people ended up in the end. It just took longer, but more people ended up being killed in Vietnam.
Yeah.
It was hard to get out once he got in,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Just like Afghanistan, why
yeah.
why were we there?
Not a lot of easy answers, You try to. I used to have stronger feelings about it, but now I'm, it's kind of like it wasn't meant to be,
I mean, we can easily defend ourselves if we had to, and if we get attacked by another country, and lose a number of people, we should just bomb up some other cities and then get out of there. We don't have to.
Yeah, maybe.
We can just send them a message that way, and just like Israel's trying to go into Iran, one of these days.
Sure.
They're just trying to defend themselves. And